Hi, I would like to share about a detail about web application concept for the basics. And first of all, web application or web app, you can say that is a software that run in the web browser. The web browser is a combination of several programming language or markup, for example, JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. And then if you render something, this is just sort of drawing something, rendering. And for the technology behind the scenes, so you're saying the three type of language together, and HTML you say that is a skeleton. You got the element, what kind of element in your web. If you got the CSS, you got the style, you got the presentation, how does it look, and then finally JavaScript is something like a muscle and nervous and real brain. You got some programming logic, got some reaction. If you need to combine three type of environment programming language to have the so-called client browser size programming, and then if you got some database or login logic, it should be run into the with database together. You need to have the server side, and this maybe some server side scripting, for example Python, PHP, Java, whatever. But today our talk is mainly focused on the client side technology. And well, why we so called some in general we so called web application. This is a kind of application. It's a software running in the browser. You got the browser mobile, desktop, or Safari, whatever browser, and it is able to render to follow the JavaScript standard, HTML standard, CSS, and the behavior depend on the web browser rendering. There is some minor difference between different render. Um, behind we use the HTTP hypertext protocol for the internet access, but now it's not normally we will HTTPS with encryption. We will just access the URL to download the HTML, JavaScript, CSS from the server, and then the web browser will do the rendering of the web page for you. This is the logical flow. You have the internet access and web server just let you to download the file. Don't fix too much. For a web page, it is a just download some file and then they follow the standard to draw it. And more clear, when you do the web development, you need to classify two kind of programming. One is the server side, one is the client side. And normally client side, we will track the validation information before sending to server. It's much faster. You see the doing in the browser is much faster in interactive. And server, you will get the up-to-date information from database or other server, or API or internet. You will control the web page content. For example, if someone logged in of different role in your application, you can have different HTML output or JavaScript output, let them to download. You just shrink your HTML and JavaScript and CSS from the server, and the different user, even though they are in the same URL, okay, same link, same domain, they got different HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. It is something called server size difference between client size. And the logic is that client request a send it request to the server, and then the server maybe Python, we just read the code with the request content, for example link data there, and then respond the file. Actually, this is just download a file. Let you create a file and let you download, and then will be combined together is CSS, HTML, and then render in with together with JavaScript to show the result to client. And first of all, HTML is quite straightforward. You have learned it from very junior age and in primary school maybe. And it's just a lot of tag start and end together in pair. But what it is, behind the scenes is something called document object model. You need to have the concept. It is a tree. Why? Document object model is just tell you how to render the structure HTML. Okay, you got the skeleton, you got the bone. Yeah. And we will have some example here, but remember all of the operation of JavaScript or CSS is on top of this skeleton. This is the backbone of your HTML. One element there. Here, for example, you got a element so-called a node. It's a P paragraph with well. And behind the scene, you always need to think about a web page is a tree. Okay, it's a tree got a lot of node, got a lot of branch, and then you just render it one by one. For example, here is the represent the HTML, and here is represent the HTML part. Is a document the first one, and then we may sometimes we may omit some element in your web page, but by default, the browser will help you add it back to the try to help to add it back correctly, and then let it render. And here's the practice. For the body is here, for the head now is the head, and then you try to drill down one level by one level. You can access everything through a tree. For example, you can just navigate on the tree, just climb up to tree, and then you find one of the element or one of the section so that you can apply your logic style sheet or the JavaScript for the reaction. Okay. Okay, CSS is the long name is case style. So don't think about it. It's just help you to modify the display of your element. Okay, you got the HTML is just a bone, the backbone, skeleton. But you need to how to display it. For example, display is a different color, different size. It's a concept of display. And you have color, text style, display because of the width, height, and padding. So there's like some space inside and font family and border, and also some abstract element is not visible. Okay, since we need to apply some logic or display will be more complicated, so you get some element or attribute. It is not about the display over the HTML. You can add it for DIV's brand. You not in the historical there is nothing. This is so-called layer or some spam is just help you to code something. You in the modern web development you will always apply this kind of element so that we can have dynamic display on top of CSS and JavaScript. And for JavaScript, it's the more complicated one, and also to be honest, it's a more difficult programming language for me. I think it's a very very difficult one since it is a lot of rule behind the scenes. But now we are sometimes focused on so-called ES6 version or even latest version for JavaScript since this is a lot of improvement. And here's the script. You don't have to think about it. Just man tap the script. It will be JavaScript, and then you just write the code here. For the function, you need to define a function. You need the keyword. You put the keyword function here. It become a function, a piece of code. You can call it, and then we use the logic. And the main function of JavaScript is to handle the event. You do something over the web, for example, on click it, drag it, mouse over, key up, key down, keyboard, or loading or something. Something happen, we want to do some logic on top of this activity. Something happen, you take the action, it is event handling. And before you want to do the event handling, you need to select the element you want to apply the JavaScript. Yeah, you need to filter out. Okay, so there is a different type of selector. For example, this is so-called element selector. You get all of the tag name. For example, P, A, or H1 is the tag, and then you have ID attribute. Just the hash with ID, and then if you want to use class to get more element together, so for example you got a class so-called the red or something, or you have class or student class or whatever. You class you'll be able to class the ID is different. ID need to be unique in the over the web page. The whole web page don't you should not have repeat ID. But classes is just apply the style in general for historical reason, and you can have multiple classes in an element. Also, an element classes can apply to different kind of element. Don't care about the type. The type and also the ID or whatever. So this is more flexible to using class in the development. And after we take it out, we will define some variable. Please use let for your programming. Don't use var. Var is tedious and difficult to use, and unless you have very strong reason, this is something depreciate and very hard to use. Don't use var. Use let and cons. Cons is so straightforward. It's just constant. Okay, var will have some extreme behavior, so-called hosting, and I will explain it in other lecture maybe. But to simplify your web development, don't use var anymore. You let as you can. And also for function definition, you see a previous one is a function, but for the modern JavaScript development, you will use arrow function instead of the function keyword one. This is also difference between the simply something similar to while cases. This is about hosting issue. Try to use this kind of syntax for your real JavaScript development. It will save you some unknown problem in probably if you are programming guy in other programming language. You will have a problem when you're writing JavaScript because of you are using var and also using the classic function definition. Try to use arrow function. You will have some. It will save you a lot of unknown problem in the future. And we'll explain more later. You just need to define a arrow here, x here, and then don't try to use a function call. And then you can simplify it to a single line of code. It is a very common syntax. This is a function. It's some not I mean in some cases we so-called lambda function, and you just mention here, and then this function call and then return double the value. And we have since the JavaScript is a functional programming and it support the higher order function call. What is this? Is you can use function as a argument or also return a function. Here's an example of higher order function. You can define a function call here. Call function is a function, okay? And then the higher order function is the parameter is a function. Okay, you see the function parameter is a function. You just call another function. So if you have this kind of statement, high order function, and then input a function, it will first call the I am a higher order function, and then call the function is its input is its callback function. You call callback here, and then here we will run. So first line I am a higher order function. Second output will be I am a callback function. If you are writing JavaScript, you are writing this kind of coding style all the time. You just don't think too much about it. It's actually you input a function as a parameter. Okay? It's very common, this kind of programming style. For example, you want to filter out some user of age higher than 30, so that you say we will get better output for the first two, and then only the first two row. Okay, this is output. This is users is an array, and then you have a filter function. We will only accept you input a function which return a boolean. It's a logic boolean, and then you write the boolean logic here. You can filter out your data. Try to use this. Don't use looping anymore. It is not making sense to using looping. In the modern programming language style, all of the programming language have this kind of syntax, so-called functional style. And functional style will save you a lot of source code and make your source code much clearer. And local storage is something quite useful, as the case that in the past you only be able to store data in cookie, but the cookie it's just a very simple key value pair, and there will be a lot of overhead when you make a call to the request and respond. It will always carry the cookie. It will slow down your web. It will have a lot of overhead on your web request. So it is much simpler to have a local database or local storage inside the browser. Some of the browser also even support the local database. You can write SQL, but local storage is a local key values pair. The size is much bigger than cookie, and also you don't have to send the data to and from the servers to use your internet bandwidth all the time. And modern for the Web 2.0, we have Ajax. Don't be so surprised. It's quite very straightforward. You use JavaScript to download data. That's all. Okay, you use JavaScript to make a API call to get the data, to submit something behind the scenes. This is something called Ajax. This is without using framework directly. You can do the Ajax as below. This is quite simple source code. And also, for example, you have a track application like a Facebook, or you can Facebook track WhatsApp behind the scenes. You will get very interactive behind something hi. You will receive the message hi immediately. This is because there is a web shortcut behind the scene. You got a correct shortcut connection to the server and client all the time, and it will be able to send back the data to you as they like to publish a message or news to you. Okay. Uh, for the Java, one of the format is the called JSON, and this is the kind of so-called the JavaScript format to store data. This is a very popular data format to send data to and from the server and client, also store data in the modern IT realm, especially cloud environment. There is a structure called a JSON, but you just need to take a look to the example. Is that they only have a array, object, string, and number and value, something like that. It's just simple data type, but for you to store the data. Here's the example. You just have Tokyo, Shanghai. It is the flight information. It is the first, and then this duration is some. The time is a number, and then also you have nested at the array here, and also you are able to have the nested object inside object. You just take a look to review some example. You will well understand the structure is quite simple. And then we will define API call in the modern web application. And you will see a lot of link like that in your when you develop program. Use flight number, passengers, and then six. It got the number six passengers. That is the sample. If you use Facebook or ever web development, we will define this kind of URL to help you handle the data. But behind the scene, you need to understand the case that we will some naming. Yeah, there's a so-called schema. HTTP protocol, email, LDAP, get the name, and also the authority is a name of the domain plus the port number. And other also have similar case. And then for the path of the file, okay, this is so-called the path. And then the query and then the anchor is let you when the web page you want to load the web page, jump to behind middle of the page. You need to set up a text there. It's a so-called anchor, a something, but it's not a URL. The a anchor uses this value, not the URL. You will got the anchor, and here is some basic link. You just understand the structure is okay. When you write a program, you need to extract the query. Is this part actually anchor? Is this actually the part of our this part? You need to the API code. You need to know it. For HTTP method, we have get, post, put, patch, delete. But in general, you're using the web page, you don't know, then it's just a little browser, you will see the get pages. But behind the scene, when you're programming it, you've got 5 type of method. And mainly we use get and post for JavaScript or web development. But for the programming point of view, you want to do something on top of single URL. It's one very interesting. One URL got 4 functions. The URL let you get the data. You use a get request method. Okay, just train the method to get, and then train the method to browse to create something. Train the method to put to update it, replace it. Okay, replace it. If you want to patch it, it means just update, patch it. But some people will use put to replace the element. Just copy down the origin set and then replace it. It says put and patch. Patch is just update field, and then delete element is do the delete request. So it result single URL. You got a one URL. You will have 5 method there and then do different operations. Here's some example for when you define an API. You said that if you want to have a class, don't have to say query, just class 1, 2, 3, and you get a object, get a single class value, and then normally we use plural form. Okay, since it is supposed if you ignore the ID, you will get everything. Select all. Okay, when you do the pros, we will get the ID. We will input the ID as well. Since we may have the duplicate case. For example, we call again. You want the item product is mean we repeat the API call. It will give you the same result. It will not have corrupt the database behind the scenes. And versioning is quite straightforward. You have a V1, V2, V3 something in the API design. If you want to have a soft delete, you just use a get call but include deleted true, and then pagination, and then you see the API query part is just page size and then next page token, sorting, filtering, and then you want to secure it, you get an API key. But normally for the best practices, you will also have the signature to encrypt the first 2 fields to have a hash so that people can calculate is a request being modified or not. And then the get request to get something but not in the class, just single item. You have the second part of the URL, and then you add it and then you train it. Okay, and the request module, if you're writing Python, you will get this kind of program, or also JavaScript is similar, very similar. Just this kind of API call to single URL with 5 type of API call in different method. And static hooks, number 2 start is okay, no problem. Found something, you lost something. Okay, not found it back because it's error. Find something is server side error. You need to at least know some number is the beginning number. 2 is okay. 4 is some problem is not about the server, but find something is server have a problem. And then we would like to have the get and post request, and this is very be careful when you're using it. When you're using get, you are not able to click the back button. Okay, reload it will no problem. Okay, but if you reload or back your post, you submit something, login submit will not allow that. You know that you can't resubmit the data. We may have the problem, and you can bookmark easily since you got the get request. You have the URL, have a parameter query something. But pull request your bookmark is meaningless since the data is lost. Since pull request it will have a body, but the body will not be able to bookmark. Okay, the data will not be bookmarked. You got the link only. And for encoding, if you learn to send it, you can support binary upload. For example, you want to upload an image or a video, you must using post. You using get will not be able to send the data in general unless it's very very small. But it's not working. Remember, if you want to upload file and then you have no choice. You must use post. For the historical, you just bet it. But the history in the browser for pros is not working since you got lost the body. You just have the link, and for the data type since it is in the link URL, okay, URL to store the data, and it will be have ASCII requirement. But for pros you can have any type of data. And for restriction, normally you need to make sure since the URL of the browser is limited, cannot be too long. The URL it will truncate it. It will just cut something, cut the tail. You will have a lot of corruption cases if you post the data there, put the last file there on the URL, it will not work. So you need to think about how long is your data, the size of your data. For security reasons, get is not possible to for the login or sensitive data. Since the sensitive data, if you try to review it, you will see if you get the data to send to the server, it will just in the URL. You will set you will see your password in your browser history. It's very very stupid and unsecure and danger action. So if you don't unsure about the data using post, since post is lower, but it will not be store the data in the browser. And also this is the reason why it can't bookmark. And visibility, you see the data in URL, but you will not see it. There's a reason why login registration with sensitive information, you must use post. But for general, for form submit, always using post if you don't not sure what's going on. For the case synchronous and asynchronous, synchronous is mean you need to queue it up. Okay, waiting for one by one is some of the programming style, but for JavaScript by design is asynchronous, something like Starbucks or Pacific Coffee. You go there, just they buy something, give you a ticket, and then you call you back. Call back is function callback. Okay, you write program on cake, on what, or on jet, on something. It is event. Okay, something happened, call you back. This is the so-called asynchronous programming style. For performance, nowadays a lot of server already using HTTP2. It is much faster than HTTP run. Also by default, it will support encryption easier, and there is a lot of improvement for compatibility content in the route. And the most important part is that it supports the multiplexing and header compression the server push. And what is multiplexing is that you will have split your header. First of all, the filming, the loading the data in the past is single API call, but now we just split the header of the web request from header and body, two type of frame to send separately, and we have a single socket and the filming, and then we can send the film with sketch and reports in a different stream tie together in single correct connection. One shortcut connection can handle multiple requests and then have priority. And for one correction is that you just one request, one response, and then one request, one response. You see it very slow. and then you got a lot of connection. Connection have the limitation. You can't set up too much connection between the server and client. It will jam the server. So it is limited speed. But for HTTP2, you just have single connection, and then you try to have multiple stream to share between the connection. You can have priority, multiple download together. The image is very easy for you to understand. This is also you understand that this is much faster, and then no slow start, no handshaking, and then optimize for speed. And also the header, you know, in the web request, if you have try to monitor, you see the header is always duplicate the data. If you see that always same gain, always, and if it is no change, it should not be sent. So for the HTTP run, HTTP you got the header side reduces to this style. It's much less data in the header. And then for the body, we will have streaming prioritization. Maybe this is some calculation behind the scene. What kind of data should be downloaded first? You can see this image. If we have different kind of browser to support the prioritize of loading. You see the Chrome, Safari, Firefox. You see the loading time. If we are able to prioritize our data, the loading speed is much faster than before. So it will benefit from HTTP2. And server-side push is important since we want to have notification to your friend Facebook. Oh, got a new post, Instagram got a new image. You can push the data from server to client, but you need to make sure that the server side need to be support this kind of server push mechanism. And you can load the data. You can load the data to push the data to ask them to download. Actually, not just that you connect the server to ask them to download. And this is actually run, and then you show you actually two condition. You will see since that previous improvement, the loading time is much faster, and you see the download speed is much faster since that is able to have prioritize, share the shortcut, single connection, shortcut, and parallel download. And it's just you see that there's a compare much faster, SSL not required, you can recommend, and then multipassing is important, header compression faster, algorithm to prioritize the download will let the browser to get the required information to get to render the view faster. But from now on we have even more of new version, but it's not yet very a lot of server support. But if the server support, it will use HTTP 3.0. It is more furthermore changes is that we no more using TCP, we're using UDP, and then with some handshaking and tracking to try to more speed up the download process of the browser. Oh, okay, that's all for the presentation.